Onthatile Ditshego, and I am the Education Program Manager for Business and Arts South Africa. And basically that program saw a need in all the provinces, like in the sense that arts organizations did not know how to access funding.
Sure.
And arts organizations did not know really how to operate their business. And as Business and Arts South Africa, we came up with a 3-tier program, which is BASA Basics,
Sure.
BASA Dynamic, and BASA Established. Oh yeah, this I'm a struggling artist.
Yeah.
Type of, type of approach. I feel, if you look at sports, people in sports don't do that. They don't go, we're struggling soccer players, please sponsor us. I think that the way artists look at themselves speaks to a lot of the problems that they see. So if you are going to walk in there and say, I will take whatever you can give me, poses a big problem. As an artist, you need to walk through the door and say, actually, saying that I'm going to get exposure is something that's a secondary thing. I am giving something of value.
Sure.
I think that arts, speaks to a lot of, how we can develop society, in terms of on a cultural level, on an emotional level. Cultural intelligence, emotional intelligence, a lot of that comes from the arts. And a lot of, great thinking, is stemmed from the arts. So once artists understand how valuable they are to society, we then see a change.
Sure.
I think the way you walk into a room, like how how you move around in a space determines your success. So I think that if artists come into a space with, I need, with this, please,
begging.
Yeah. I think that's what kills the arts. That's what kills, and also it kills creativity, because now you are unable to articulate your needs in the space, because now you're working within limitations, and arts is all about breaking those limitations and saying, actually, I own this space. I think that also as artists need to come together. That's what's lacking also. So if I'm going to price something, if someone says, okay, we'd like you to do this for us, and you say, I'm charging 10,000, and the next person's like, actually, which speaks to seeing your value. And I would be like, no, I'll charge you 1,000 rand. That devalues, this person's work. So what needs to happen is solidarity within people in the arts is important. And for thirdly, we as artists need to see the value of being professional.
Sure.
And actually taking the time to think about what we do, and saying, okay, let's do some scenario planning. What are the possible outcomes of me starting this business? What do I need to do? So what's the worst outcome out of this idea? what is the middle route, and what is the best outcome, and how, how do we problem solve in all of these instances. So I think these things happen in other spaces, and it just needs to be cultivated more in the arts. Sometimes arts for art's sake will not give you food on the table, and you need to say, actually, I'm doing arts for art's sake. But if you are delivering a product for people, it needs to be packaged in a way that people will want to consume it. Within industries, everything speaks to each other. So if one person does something that is not considered professional, it then speaks to the whole sector. Like, actors are like this, or dancers are like that. Because certain people have had some bad behaviors. So everything speaks to each other. There needs to be solidarity, there needs to be professionalism, there needs to be a sense of value, and making concerted effort to make people understand your value. You can't expect people to value what you do if you don't understand it. So people on an intrinsic level as artists need to understand, this is what I bring to the world, and live it.
Yeah. Don't just.
Not that artists are not, there's great artists, and there's people who are not mediocre, but it's like the presentation of the work is great, but behind closed doors, there's just no, And unfortunately, you have to, even if you're not good at accounts or whatever, you need to have a broad understanding of what these line items mean, so that you don't get the wool pulled over your eyes.
Yeah.
You have to take an effort towards the development of your career. Be there. Don't say, oh no, my manager will do it. Yes, you can have a manager, but you need to understand, what is this manager managing? In terms of your finances, your performances. There's a difference between an agent and manager. What does this person do? And you can't, if you don't understand, then you'll always be taken for a ride and undervalued.
True.
I feel like that there's a wave of people becoming more aware. Just also in the world, there's this new vibration of people wanting to understand on a deeper level what's going on, how do I improve on this and that. And I feel like within the arts sector, there's a lot of developments, a lot of groups forming, in terms of lobbying and white paper and all of that. I think that there's going to be some great changes taking place. Post 94, we worked from a basis of a needs-based perspective. So government would come in to communities, or a social worker would come in and give people a space to talk about all their problems, and people would be like, these are our problems, and they would count 100 of those problems. And then they would then create projects to solve those problems. The problem with that is that now people were waiting for someone to solve their problems. So, for instance, you would see people waiting 10 years for an RDP, right? But if if you turn it on its head and think about the assets, they could have, done a project where they taught people how to make bricks and taught people how to build their own houses. Now people own own the process, and they get their houses quicker. Now we're depending on someone to hire a contractor who will get a tender, will try and get the cheapest bricks and build you a house 10 years later. And they're trying to drag the contract on so that they get more work. So how does that benefit the community? First of all, it enables them to feel like their problems are someone else's. And it doesn't help them innovate in terms of what are the possible solutions. Whereas if you came into a community and said, guys, what are you able to do with your hands and stuff? And what are you able to think of? They would have thought of their own things and said, these are our actual needs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that this is why we sit in a situation where people are always angry about certain needs not being met, because we have lived in a society where, it's okay to be disabled even when you're not. If you look at all the problems that you have, and someone says to you, shame, I'll fix that for you. You then sit there for 10 years when you could have actually even bought your own bricks. A brick is like R2.60, and if you were in that 10 years of waiting, you could have bought a brick a day and built your own house. So this is why, the needs-based perspective just does not work. It just gives you a shaded view of how you could be solving your problems. And with artists as well, if we find ways to say, as a group, what are your talents and skills? We could do a skills exchange type of thing where actually this person's good at admin, we hate it. So that person just does admin for organizations. And that person does, the project management for organizations, because that's what they're good at. Unlike you're one person and you suck at 5 things, and most of your time is spent trying to figure out how to do these 5 things that you can't do. Your time is wasted, you're demotivated, and you feel like a failure because you're forced to focus on things that you are not good at, which is not productive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're busy but not productive.
Yeah, you are busy trying to, juggle balls, and they're falling, and you actually, even the stuff that you're good at, you're not spending time on that, and now what you're talented at is actually, your talent is actually being wasted because you never get time to do what you're good at, because you're focusing on all the stuff you're bad at. It's just bad use of time.
Big time. Any other juice